Hey, TechKnowSurge. You know, when two devices are communicating back and forth, there's a lot of different ways they can set up secure communication. There's a lot of different ways they can encrypt data. There's different ciphers out there. There's different key lengths. There's also different modes of encryption. When it comes to the integrity piece, there's different hashing algorithms. And when it comes to the key exchange, there's different ways they can exchange the keys. And not all devices have the same capabilities. So how do we establish a common set of capabilities? Well, we do that through Cipher Suites. So in this video, let's cover what Cipher Suites are. In this video, we're going to get into what is a Cipher Suite. We'll talk about some of the parameters and options that go into these different Cipher Suites. And then we'll talk about the client-server communication when it comes to TLS and how it uses Cipher Suites to establish a common set of parameters for securing communication. In TLS, the bulk of our communication is going to be encrypted. And it's going to be encrypted with this application data for the content type. So in this example right here, we're using the Cipher AES. We're using a key length of 256, and we're using the mode of GCM. For our integrity piece, we're using SHA-256. But there are a lot of different combinations that we have out there, and that's where our Cipher Suite comes into play. When two devices are talking back and forth, they're going to decide on some of the parameters of how they're going to secure the communication. So they do that through the use of Cipher Suites. Here are some of the parameters that need to be established. And one of those is going to be our encryption. And specifically, it's going to be our symmetrical encryption. We may use asymmetrical encryption for things like key exchange. But the problem is that's very resource intensive and very slow. And so we'll want to transition to start using symmetrical encryption. And so that's what this specifies right here. We're going to choose a cipher to use. There's going to be a key size, and there's going to be a mode for that. We also want that integrity check. So then we have our hashing algorithm here. We have the key exchange, like I mentioned, and then we also have that authentication piece. And there are a lot of different options that we can choose. For instance, with the key exchange, maybe we choose one of the Diffie-Hellmans, or maybe it's going to be RSA, or maybe it's going to be passkey. For the authentication piece, maybe we choose something like RSA. For the session cipher, maybe we choose AES 256 with GCM. And then for the hashing algorithm, perhaps we're going to choose SHA 384 or 256. So we're going to choose different options with this. What Cipher Suites are is pre-configured sets of these options. For instance, we may have a Diffie-Hellman with RSA, AES 256, GCM, and SHA-256 is going to be one of our Cipher Suites that we can choose. So it's a pre-configured set of these options. So what the client will do is it will send a list of the Cipher Suites that the client can support. So now the server has all the suites, the Cipher Suites, that the client can handle. And the server is going to match that up with its own set of capabilities and choose probably the best, most secure way of communicating. And then communicate that back to the client and say, this is how we're going to communicate. This is the Cipher Suite that we're going to use. Here's a packet that was captured going from a client to a server, and the client's telling the server what its capabilities are. So we see in here the different Cipher Suites. It will support a total of 16 suites, and we can see a list of them right here. If we want to look more deeply, let's just take a look at this one right here. This one right here is saying that it is capable of supporting, for a key exchange, the Diffie-Hellman. It's capable for the authenticity or authentication piece. It supports RSA. It will use AES 256 GCM for that session cipher and encryption. And then for the integrity piece, it's going to use the hashing algorithm of SHA-384. And one of the things that happens over time is that these Cipher Suites will change, that we'll discontinue the use of them because there's found some sort of security issues or has some sort of security concerns. So TLS 1.3 doesn't have all support for a lot of the different ciphers. As an example, triple DES is one of those things that it's not going to support because it's not considered one of the more secure methods of communication. In this video, we talked about what is a cipher suite. We got into the parameters and options of the cipher suite, and then also how a client and server will use these cipher suites to communicate back and forth their capabilities and establish a common set of parameters that they'll use for securing communication.